tertiaries. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. 2 that are considered alpha, 2 that are considered beta, based upon their amino acids. Now, think about if that one base was wrong, these are not going to be correctly shaped, okay? That affects what they're looking like and what their function is going to be. Under normal conditions, each one of these chains should be able to bind a heme group. Now, that heme group okay, has an iron atom at the center. So iron, 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 iron. On one hemoglobin and one red blood cell is going to contain tens of thousands of these, okay? On one hemoglobin, if it's formed correctly, if it contains the iron, each one has the ability to bind one oxygen molecule.
How is the structure different if somebody has an iron deficiency?
Now, if someone has an iron deficiency, that means they're representing it here with the little silver dot. That's not available. It will not affect the structure, but what it will affect, that won't be present. So you may only have 3 that have irons. Does that make sense? If someone is iron deficient, it's usually referred to as being anemic, if you've ever heard of that term.
So if someone is iron deficient and they take enough iron, does that help them? Or?
The goal. And unfortunately, because of the body's ability to uptake iron, as well as be able to utilize that iron, usually they have to take it in very high amounts, okay, just to get a small amount to get absorbed, okay? So the goal is to make sure that whatever they're taking is in a high enough amount to make it at least meet the 100%, meaning having all 4 heme groups having a iron attached. Because if all 4 can have an iron attached, and if an oxygen is bound to the iron, that hemoglobin is 100% saturated. Have you heard of that? How many of you are familiar with a pulse ox? The little thing they put on the finger. What are they monitoring? Your oxygen level. What point do they get worried?
When it's like, it depends. But like 94 to 100 is fine, but if it's like 100, start getting worried.
Yeah, there. And like she said, it depends. Because someone, for example, who might have COPD, okay, it's going to practically be impossible for them to have 100% saturation. That's going to take a lot.
But doesn't it also, like, you can, especially with people with COPD, if you try to get them under 100, aren't those, like, really high bad? You're over-oxygenating them.
Depending on the disease they might have, okay? And that varies, because when you look at COPDs, emphysemas, heart conditions like CHF, all of these things can affect, because you could be pumping like 40% oxygen into them just for them to breathe at 80%. So, you know, it does get a little tricky. Yes, yes. Now, under normal conditions, they do not like, for when they've got that little thing on your finger, they do not like to see that number really go under 95, okay? And a lot of times, it's just a matter of simply breathe, okay? But people who have different health conditions, that's not going to always be that easy. So this is how they look at those numbers, okay? 100% is letting us know that that person's hemoglobin is carrying all the oxygen it can, if that makes sense.
So the iron is what makes it able to hold the oxygen.
Because the only thing that is going to bind the oxygen is the iron.
And anemia is when your blood doesn't clot also, is that right? Or am I confusing that?
No, hemophilia could be
Okay.
a clotting disorder, but there are other clotting disorders out there. But they tend to think of hemophilia, and there are different types of hemophilia.
But being anemic is just going to affect your oxygen levels.
It's
in your
going to
blood.
affect, anemia is referring to iron,
deficiency.
and that would affect the ability of oxygen to transport. And there are some anemias that are bad that can kill you. So, does that make sense about my hemoglobin?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the case, say, for example, do you know anyone who has sickle cell?
We have a patient right now that has sickle cell that we're like doing
Older, younger?
He's 19.
Okay. Well, you know that sickle cell is a recessive disorder. Parents don't suffer, but the child does. Okay? Now, what happens is, due to the hemoglobin's structure now being affected, which means it's going to affect its function, it ends up giving a lot of the red blood cells a sickle shape. Sort of like if you think about the red blood cell being round, it'll have a side on it that's not rounded. Now, if you think about that, okay, if you think about something being round, but now, due to shape being messed up and it getting sickle-shaped, what it has now done, it has created a sharp edge on that red blood cell. That red blood cell now gets stuck, okay? Meaning, and it gets stuck in the veins. A lot of times, areas that it gets stuck, it creates severe pain. They have to go in for pain management, and they also do some type of blood treatment, don't they? Or some type of, do they give them blood, or?
Yeah.
They do give them blood, right? Okay. And like I said, it's something that ranges from mild to severe. When I say that it becomes multi-organ, this is because we got blood flow in all the organs. okay? And it will cause this blockage. And it becomes, in some cases, extremely painful for people. It's one of the things that they do a lot of research on. They've come a long way with it, okay? But it's still a multi-organ problem, disorder, disease. Now, it is up to that iron to bind that oxygen. Now, in a fetus, you know how they say, like, with the woman who might be pregnant, all right, they're like, okay, well, I'm doing everything for 2 now. Yes, they are, okay? And so far as the oxygen, okay, the fetal hemoglobin during fetal development, okay, it does act a little bit differently so that it can extract more oxygen from the mother. The reason for that, it's called development for a reason, okay?
So we can know that that problem exists beforehand because of this.
What kind of problem?
For example, you're saying that the child needs more oxygen, right, during that process. So the mother would feel it, that something is going on.
Usually respiration rates go up a little bit.
Oh.
Okay? So the mom, she might be taking a few more breaths or deeper breaths, okay? The mother gets tired. Because if you think about it, a lot of the oxygen they may be carrying, rather than it staying completely within their system, it's now going to the baby. So there's lots of things. Yeah. Under normal conditions, though, hopefully mom's able to get some rest, get a good diet, not have to overwork anything. You know, they get to say, hold up, no, I'm not doing that today because I'm building a lump. And so they get to sit in. And you let them, okay, because they are, literally, development. You know, it's important. It does change to the adult form when they're born, okay? So as soon as they take their first breath, everything sort of begins to reverse for the babies. But this is one of the things that, if we think about the red blood cell, okay, I don't think that this could be stressed too much, all right? Because one of the things they're going to do, probably most of the time, is put that pulse ox on you. I mean, you can buy them now, all right? You can buy them and simply use them while you're like doing your exercises and stuff. People want to know how much oxygen, if they're breathing right. And the other thing about that, I just thought about it. How many of us actually breathe right? 24/7? Actually do that where your abdomen actually increases when you take a breath. No, most of us, you know, we're just doing this shallow breathing. We're not getting the right amount of oxygen. It's one of the reasons you yawn. When you yawn, your body's trying to balance up that oxygen and CO2 back out. Woo. Gotta love it.
Is that one of the things that the Apple Watches are monitoring? Well, like the iron.
Unless they have come up with something I don't know of, okay? No. What they're going to be monitoring is their respiration rate. Not an iron level, because that's going to have to be an actual blood test. Unless, you know, I used to try to keep up with technology. I gave up on that a few years ago.
How does the little finger thing work then? If you have to do a blood test to check the iron, because the iron is directly related
The only
to
thing the only thing the finger thing is doing is the pulse ox. It's only giving, basically, it puts it on there, and based on your pulse, has a little mathematical equation to equate to the oxygen level.
But isn't that directly related